The origins of the Clone Wars. Tensions in the Rim. Although the Clone Wars officially began in 22 BBY at the Battle of Geonosis, their origins could be found over a century earlier. Though a fictive event controlled by Darth Sidious, the war had its origins in the age-old divide between the galaxy's inner and outer systems. In 124 BBY, the Galactic Senate passed two critical pieces of legislation. The entire Outer Rim territories were declared a free trade zone, repealing numerous sector-level taxes. Since the Rusan reformations of 1000 BBY and the abolition of a centralized Republic navy, the Outer Rim had been plagued by piracy and slavers, breeding political isolation. The act hoped to jumpstart legitimate commerce and so restore ties between the core and the rim. Additionally, the status of functional constituents was extended to include senatorial representation of the galaxy's largest guilds and corporations. These twin acts benefited various megacorporations, including the Intergalactic Banking Clan and the Corporate Alliance, but none more so than the Trade Federation, a Neimoidian trade cartel. The Trade Federation rapidly expanded into the Outer Rim, stifled competition, and enforced deals with its powerful trade defense force. By 67 BBY, it enjoyed full voting privileges in the Galactic Senate, and within a decade, commanded the votes of hundreds of systems. Many on Coruscant supported the Trade Federation, admiring its rapid extinction of piracy on the major hyperlanes. Others bemoaned Trade Federation corruption and the extinction of representation for the systems it controlled. The issue of the Outer Rim polarized the Senate. By 52 BBY, a faction known as the Militarists had emerged on Coruscant, calling for the restoration of the centralized Republic military to restore order on the Rim. Meanwhile, a terrorist group known as the Nebula Front declared its intention to fight the Trade Federation by any means necessary. Amid this political storm began the career of one Senator Palpatine of Naboo, representing the Chomel sector. Unbeknownst to all at the time and unclear to the rest of the galaxy until many decades later, Palpatine was in fact Darth Sidious, apprenticed to the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Plagueis. Over the next 2 decades, he would manipulate the tensions between the core and the Rim and the government and the Trade Federation to finally fulfill Darth Bane's grand plan, a 1,000-year scheme by the order of the Sith Lords to foment a war that would destroy the Republic. As Sidious, he fomented the Stark Hyperspace War 46 BBY, a ruse cooked up by him, the Federation, and Iako Stark, so that the Trade Federation could demand additional rights to increase protection on its ships. As Palpatine, he worked his way into Supreme Chancellor Finis Valorum's confidence as an opponent of the Trade Federation. In 33 BBY, he encouraged Valorum to restore taxation on the Outer Rim trade routes in order to break the Trade Federation's power. In exchange, Valorum offered the Neimoidians the right to unlimited defense of their merchant ships. However, the attack on their finances through taxation drove the Trade Federation, the IG Banking Clan, and the Corporate Alliance together. After a disastrous summit on Eriadu that saw 4 Federation board members murdered at Sidious's behest, Newt Gunray was elevated to the position of Trade Federation Viceroy. With the Trade Federation radicalized and Bactoid Armor Workshop and Hard Troll Engineering filling its ever larger orders for a new droid army, Darth Sidious approached Gunray and encouraged him to make a stand that would force the Senate to back down over the taxation of trade routes. The Battle of Naboo. At Sidious's behest, the Trade Federation began a blockade of Palpatine's homeworld of Naboo. The entire incident made Valorum look weak, and in the Senate debate over what action to take over the blockade, Palpatine induced the enraged Queen Padme Amidala of Naboo to demand a vote of no confidence in his leadership. In the aftermath, a strong sympathy vote for Naboo rode Senator Palpatine to the office of Supreme Chancellor. Thus, a Sith Lord had control of the Galactic Republic. The invasion of Naboo saw the continued existence of the Sith exposed to the Jedi Order after Sidious's apprentice Darth Maul killed Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn during the liberation of the planet. Additionally, events during the escape of Queen Amidala from Naboo to Coruscant saw the discovery of Anakin Skywalker on Tatooine, whom Qui-Gon had believed to be the Chosen One, the prophesied being who would bring balance to the Force. With Qui-Gon's death, Anakin was apprenticed to Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi. As Chancellor, Palpatine promised to bring an end to the corruption that had so often plagued the Galactic Senate. The first few years of his tenure saw very little done to fulfill that promise, however. The demilitarization of the Trade Federation was viewed by many as little more than a slap on the wrist, and Newt Gunray, Viceroy of the Trade Federation, managed to avoid any serious charges against him for his role in the Naboo conflict despite opposition from Padme Amidala. The formation of the Confederacy. During this time, Palpatine and his alter ego, Darth Sidious, had contacted the experienced Jedi Master Count Dooku. Having lost his apprentice Darth Maul during the Naboo conflict, Palpatine was in need of a new apprentice, and Dooku, whose own faith in the Republic had been shattered following the Battle of Galidran and the subsequent inaction over Naboo, seemed the perfect one to mold. Having killed his old friend Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas to seal his fate and become Darth Tyrannus, Dooku was then ordered to eliminate any reference to Kamino from the Jedi archives. Having had a vision that war was imminent, Sifo-Dyas had contacted the Kaminoans to organize the creation of a clone army for the Republic. Sidious did not intend to have the Jedi discover the clone army secretly being grown for them until they were desperate for an army. After being deemed worthy, Jango Fett was commissioned by Dooku to be the template for this army. While the future Grand Army of the Republic was being prepared on Kamino, however, other forces of clone warriors were already active in the galaxy. Cloners and their products were no secret to Jedi like Obi-Wan Kenobi and fringers like former gunrunner Dexter Jettster. And around the time that Outbound Flight was destroyed in 27 BBY, the Galactic Republic's military forces were engaged in combat with clone warriors, rendered dangerously unstable and prone to clone madness by being very rapidly grown to maturity. Veterans of these campaigns, such as the future Grand Admiral Gillard Peleon, would later consider these campaigns as the start of the Clone Wars, but to most people, they were probably only a symptom of the unrest in the Republic at the time. In 24 BBY, Palpatine's 8-year term as Supreme Chancellor was coming to an end. At roughly the same time, Dooku emerged on Raxus Prime. In the Raxus address, Dooku declared his disillusionment with the Republic and his intention to form the Confederacy of Independent Systems, a group of disenfranchised organizations and governments whose goal was to secede from the Republic. The Raxus address triggered a wave of secessions, beginning the Separatist crisis. Fearing instability amid the crisis, the Senate permitted Supreme Chancellor Palpatine to stay in office longer than the term limits the Galactic Constitution permitted. Over the next 2 years, many systems left the Republic to join the Confederacy, including Geonosis and the Elrud, Dunjar, Tantra, and Sluis sectors, bringing most of the rimward leg of the Rima trade route under the control of the Confederacy. From the beginning, the Separatist territory was highly dispersed, dominated by a pocket in the new territories based around Munilinst, the southern Rima, a pocket stretching coreward down the Polemian trade route from the Tion cluster, and an enclave on the Corellian run stretching from the Alentine system to Mon Gaza. The wave of secessions intensified after the disastrous Battle of Antar IV, where the Republic suffered a humiliating early defeat trying to overthrow a separatist-affiliated insurgent government, and had to resort to heavy-handed tactics that harmed many Gotals to put down the insurrection. Later, these systems would be joined by the corporate entities of the galaxy, the Bactoid Armor Workshop, the Commerce Guild, the Corporate Alliance, the Techno Union, the Intergalactic Banking Clan, and of course, the Trade Federation. These corporations were leaving the Republic over trade route taxation and seeking their own, business-friendly government. Other seceding systems simply wanted independence and were wary of forming a new centralized government. In time, the military and economic power of the megacorporations would see them as members of the Separatist Council and override the authority of the Democratic Separatist Parliament. Allies of the Confederacy. Count Dooku, prevented from openly taking his own apprentice by the rule of two, nonetheless sought out several Force sensitives to act as dark acolytes. These individuals included Asajj Ventress, Severance Tan, Sora Bulk, Tol Skor, Kadrian Say, Artel Dark, Karok, Vinok, Sato, Trenox, and even Jedi Master Quinlan Vos for a time. All of them, with the exception of Ventress and Vos, were killed during the course of the war. In addition to this group of Dark Jedi, he recruited the Christoria warrior Sidon Prax and the Gendai bounty hunter Dirge. Dirge gladly joined the Confederacy, if for no other reason than to eliminate the Republic's army of clone troopers bred from the DNA of Mandalorian Jango Fett, as Dirge hated Mandalorians. The most important and the most famous ally recruited to the Confederate cause was the Kaleesh warrior Chimean Jai Shilal, whose body was horribly maimed in a shuttle crash arranged, though not known to Shilal, by Dooku himself. His broken body was taken to Geonosis, where he was offered a new life and the help of the Intergalactic Banking Clan for his people by the Intergalactic Banking Clan chairman San Hill. All the Kaleesh had to do in exchange was lead the Confederacy droid army against the Republic who had wronged his people. Shilal took the opportunity afforded to him, merged with his new droid body, and became the feared General Grievous, supreme commander of the droid armies. The road to war. Coruscant found itself the target of many terrorist attacks. As violence became an increasing part of the separatist movement, the Galactic Senate debated passing a Military Creation Act that would allow the Supreme Chancellor to re-establish a centralized Republic military. Not all were content to wait. The Judicial Forces Captain Zosridor Slake mutinied, and with his new crew established a private army to combat separatist forces in the Sluis sector. Slake's Sons and Daughters of Freedom won a series of victories and embarrassed the Jedi Order after they defeated the Jedi Knight Nija Halcyon, sent to rein them in, and captured his flagship. A bomb explosion on Coruscant in the final weeks leading up to the war was aimed to take the life of the Naboo senator Padme Amidala upon her return to vote on the Military Creation Act. After a second attack on Amidala's life, the Jedi Council selected Obi-Wan Kenobi to investigate who was behind the attempted assassinations on the senator, while Anakin Skywalker escorted Senator Amidala back to Naboo. Kenobi's search took him to Kamino, where he discovered the clone army, but this time numbering 200,000 units with 1 million already in production. He also met Jango Fett, who attempted to escape with his son to Geonosis, but was followed by Kenobi. Kenobi discovered that the Separatist and its many corporate entities were constructing a massive droid army to wage war on the defenseless Republic. Obi-Wan managed to send a message to the Jedi Council, but was captured. On Tatooine, Skywalker was ordered by Mace Windu to stay where he was and protect Amidala. Amidala, however, decided to travel to Geonosis to rescue Kenobi. Skywalker and Amidala were then captured as well, and they, along with Kenobi, were, by order of Archduke Poggle the Lesser, sentenced to be executed. With the knowledge of the Separatist army, the Senate, at behest of Representative Jar Jar Binks, himself manipulated by Vice Chair Mas Amida, gave Chancellor Palpatine emergency dictatorial powers. The Chancellor legalized the creation of the clone army to serve in the Grand Army of the Republic.